So a bunch of you guys really wanted to know on how I make my stop motions, and usually I did do a couple shorts explaining how I did it, but I'm gonna do a long form video to show in detail on how I actually do it. And some of you guys thought that I use AI. Now, do I really want my Lego to look like this? Yeah, in my opinion, not. So I definitely didn't take that personally, and that's definitely why I'm not making this video, but yeah. Alright, but all jokes aside, I will be explaining how I make my stop motions, how I set up Stop Motion Studio, which is basically the stop motion app that I use, and what editing software I use, which is, to be honest, here's a hint, it's pretty popular, and basically almost everyone in YouTube is using it. That's also with TikTok. And lastly, what equipment do I use? Oh yeah, and what techniques do I use to make my animations better and higher quality? That I will be explaining in this video. So let's actually get on with the equipment first. Now, in reality, to make a pretty basic stop motion, you don't really need that many things. Basically, for this one, we're going to make Stormtrooper trying to shoot a Hoth Trooper. Pretty nice. And basically, I got a Hoth Trooper and a Stormtrooper here, and with 2 blasters each. Then, for the blaster effects, so the lighting, I use this little sort of LED round light. It goes white, red, and so on, like that. It's pretty nice. You can use it with a lot of different effects and animation and stop motion, and it has a little controller. Now these are pretty cheap. These lights, you can find them on like anything on Amazon, eBay, and they're really cheap, so that's nice. Then all you need is a bit of tack. I would recommend white tack, as you can use white tack for basically a lot of things, and they'll sort of like hide itself, especially in Stormtrooper uniform. And if you have blue tack, it'll stand out a bit more, but that's fine. You can get that one as well. The only problem with white tack is that it's less stickier than blue tack. It's surprising that I know this. Yeah. And then 2 little orange stud and red stud, sort of for the blaster effect. Now we're going to leave those there. A nice little base plate. Now you can do anything for the background. You can put a white piece of paper, anything you want. As long as you have somewhere to put the minifigures, that's fine. And then a phone, basically any phone you need to record. We'll use Stop Motion Studio, so we'll put that over there. Lastly, well, this is why I would recommend using a tripod. Now, basically just get anything that you can lean your phone against. Usually I would use this, since you can put your phone there, like that. Pretty decent, and it works fine. Now, that's basically what I recommend. You can use anything, that's fine, but as long as your phone doesn't move throughout the process, we're good. Alright, to set up Stop Motion Studio is pretty simple. You click on New Movie. Once you do that, basically take a picture of anything you want. We'll take this is just to set it up, but for example, we're going to use this. Now, basically what you need to do is you go to, this is the animation speed. Usually I keep mine at 16 or 16, 17 or 15. That's what I would use for my animations. But if you're brand new, I would suggest going somewhere around 10 or 9 or 10 or 11. Basically 9, 10 to 11, that's pretty good for starters. That's what I would recommend. Now we're gonna leave this one to 10 since it's the most basic one to use. You can pick your quality here and foreground aspect ratio. For shorts, I would recommend moving your phone like this. It's because you get a higher quality. But if you're making a long form video, then I would recommend using these. Just to keep it simple today, we're doing a long form one. Then once you're done with that, you press done, you press camera, and then here you press manual. Manual is the best one to use. You might get this little green thing, so you can either pick auto, which I wouldn't recommend. I would either say get daylight. Daylight's way better to get and way simpler to use. And then ISO. So this is basically the artificial light that your phone gets, and the shutter speed. Now it depends on what you want, and yeah, these are your different cameras. You don't really have to switch them. Most of the time camera 1 is your most powerful camera, especially on phones. So that's a pretty easy thing to do. And lastly, this is your zoom, but you don't really have to use this as you can do it with hand as well. Lastly, that's your green screen. I wouldn't really recommend using it. If you really want to, yeah, why not? But like, it's better to have like an actual one. This is rotating the screen. No, to be honest, you might not really need it for a lot of things. Lastly, that's basically what you need to know of the manual mode. Just what I wouldn't recommend to do is using auto. Right, so now we're in stop motion. The basic things you should know about stop motion are listed here. This is how you basically edit your, well, frame. You can have the insert camera, which to be honest you probably won't need it most of the time, only if you make a mistake. You have audio, edit, erase. Now, edit and erase, they're pro thingies. Yeah. Now, basically, now that we've done that, we can like go into the actual thing. As you can see, we turn on manual on. If that does the glitch, just turn it to daylight. Focus your minifigure like tinker around with it a bit more just to find out the perfect focus spot. That's what I like to do in, well, at the start of every stop motion. Now, this will be 10 frames per second, unlike my usual stop motions, which are 16 frames per second. And to be honest, that's fine. But yeah. Now, what we're going to try and do is ease in and ease out. Now, it's pretty basic thing to do, but it can be tricky at the start. Basically, you do a little movement at the start and you slowly do it faster. And that's how you do ease in and ease out. Now, so now we did the first movement, we do a bit faster. And then a bit, and then, yeah, about the same speed. Because the more space there is between a movement, the faster the object will go. And then we're gonna make a little like thud here, which is just a tiny little move. Because we're easing out now, but don't worry if there's any like movement, as we will be stabilizing this later on in the editing process. Now we need to export your project, so if you want you can do 4K or not. You can go to export movie, and now you're just gonna have to wait, which this does take like a long time depending on how many frames. And today we're going to be using CapCut. Basically, first we're going to start off with stabilization, which is pretty simple. Go there, put it on recommended, as that's what I would also recommend. Now we're going to be doing motion blur. And before anyone says, oh no, it's AI. No, it's not, because motion blur is an AI. Let me explain. Now, if it was AI, CapCut would do a little tiny sort of badge that says it's AI. So that's basically the final of the stop motion. Basically, I hope you guys thought that was helpful. So I guess this might prove my point that I'm not using AI, but yeah. So thank you guys very much for watching the video. So, and don't forget to subscribe and like, as that will help me a ton. So goodbye and see you on the next video.